rational, just organized Matt is so much better than the other guy. By the way, folks, if you head over to Spreely.tv and click Freedom Hub, you can watch it live on the Spreely network, and chat is available if you'd like to make that switch. Now, we love having you on Facebook because we get royalty from that and ads revenue, but we've got to embrace other things, and Spreely TV is available if you want to watch it on your Roku device, your Fire Stick, or your Apple TV. It's available for you.
Matthew, it's Judge Janine, and I wanted to congratulate you on the Don't Unfriend Me show at the Dumb Show. I was thinking about that whole thing the other day when I thought it was right after Donald Trump was elected that everybody on the left started unfriending anyone on the right. So I'm glad you're calling them out. You've got a great name for the show. And I hope that you're true to the values, conservative values, Republican values, and that you call those people out. I think it's great. And I know you've got 135,000 followers. I hope you get a lot more. And just keep the faith. Keep fighting. I think we may get America back. But in the meantime, we've got a steep hill to climb. And you're one of the fighters, one of the patriots. So thank you for what you're doing.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Wow, I haven't seen the Breaking Truth intro in a while. Amy is in the house. Amy, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me on tonight,
guys.
Cannoli.
And
you're like, holy cannoli. Oh, mother of God.
That was not on purpose.
That wasn't me.
That was not on purpose. That was totally my fault. Amy, go ahead. I apologize. Go right ahead.
That's it. I'm happy to be here. I've missed everybody. It's been a while.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Leeroy.
Hi, it's good to be here. This is the best place. This is the best place where I can ever hope to spend my Friday night in good company with you guys and talking about all things that are important to us.
Holy shit. Just say hi. Just say hi. Hi. It's Leeroy. Okay, Olivia, let's see if you can do this. All right. Olivia, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, y'all.
There's Olivia.
Yes, I'm like waiting for you to interrupt me.
I wasn't going to interrupt you. I was just giving everyone a bird's eye view. Hold on, let's do it again. Here, hi, say hi, Olivia.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, great. So let's do it right because we got to do it like everyone else did. Okay, quick intro. Hi, everybody. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, everyone.
See? Look how seamless. Jeez. Hi, Lahayim. The song is not Irish. I'm telling you. I've listened to it 1,000 times. This is the Don't Unfriend Me team. Go ahead.
And I got to be honest, that spinning cube thingy, I mean,
yeah,
just the way that thing sounds, would I be crazy if I said it kind of reminds me a little bit of a dreidel?
I was going to say the same exact thing. That's funny. She doesn't look Jewish. So, The only person missing from the Don't Unfriend Me team right now, and we've got plenty, is I want to call out the moderators. I mean, they never get any love. And they do amazing stuff behind the scenes. And I can't thank them enough. Money is coming because that's the one thing about Spreely is that you guys can get paid for that, for promoting the show. And I just want to thank everybody. And I'm not going to sit here and list all the mods, but they know who they are. Kristen, Maureen, Amy, Lee, Mike. Who else am I missing? Who else am I missing? Liv.
Kristen.
I already said Kristen. You're not paying attention again. Here we go again. Glenn,
Lee,
Mike.
Lee, Mike.
Who else? Anybody else? If we missed you, you should feel bad. It means that you're not doing enough and you need to do more work. But thank you for our moderators. Also want to thank another big piece of the puzzle, someone who just entered the show last week and is very popular. He's doing really well, which is interesting because I didn't think he would. I just thought he would give a half of an effort, but he actually, really puts a leg up above the competition. He really just steps in and gets into the fight.
You're awful.
Mike's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
You can join us on the morning show, and you can see it on Spreely TV at 10 a.m. The Mike and Matt in the morning show.
Just
Go ahead. What's up,
talking
buddy?
about that chapstick too. Now I'm thinking that you were using it on him. I'm not sure.
That's gross, dude. That's you. First of all, you would never use a medicated chapstick. That would burn and not be fun. So, Mike is on with me. He's going to be on next week. He's coming on. He's been kind of crazy and unable to really hit the nights because he's got some hockey stuff going on. Hayden, close the door, please. He's got he does sled hockey, and he is going to Philadelphia this weekend. But after that, he's going to come one night next week, which will be fun. It'll be good to have him on the show, and I'm excited to run that race. So let's go ahead. Do we have any more leg references that we can make fun of Mike on?
Oh,
You're better with
I feel
Maybe
bad
we
because I
should
haven't met him yet, so I don't want to make fun of him yet.
Maybe we should take a knee since Mike's going to take two. So, Mike, I hope you're watching. And listen, he even said, I want you to make fun of me. I want to feel like I'm part of the team. And I said, well, that's not going to be a problem, bro. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Two legs? No. Do you not know Mike is a double amputee?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mike's a double amputee. You wouldn't know it considering that we only show him from the waist up. So, Mike, you should go watch the original show. It's an amazing story. He's been through so much. It's incredible. And he stepped on an IED. And fortunately, the pricks who did it packed the top surface level tight. So most of it.
Ouch.
Mike's
Ouch.
watching.
I just see that.
No, watch this. Did you see it?
Yes, what knees?
Yes.
He said, this is what Mike just says. He says, here it is. It's coming in the middle of the screen. He says, what knees? The Navy misses everything. Mike Mike. So when he did step on it, it ejected to the left, to the right. And then he says, Mike, he says to Leeroy, great intel.
Great intel, yeah.
That you didn't know. So, well, you know what? You have that in common with Israel and us on 9/11.
Oh.
So, but I'm bummed. Where's my rim shot, Liv?
I do. Oh, yeah, I guess I
you do have it. That's why I bought you that expensive little, look at all these wonderful toys. You don't have my rim shot ready?
Thinking.
Are you kidding me? I'm right here. I'm hovering over the button. Rim shot. Liv.
Okay.
Too late. Not doing well. Failing at your job. There we go.
There it is.
Let's have those ready next time, shall we? No, just kidding. She does a great job. So thanks to everybody. We're excited to have a show tonight. Let's get into it right away because we've got a ton to cover, and it's been an interesting week. It's been a busy week. So going on live 5 times and doing 3 recorded shows, it's daunting. Timers on the lower right-hand corner. We're going to try 10 minutes to do what we just did, a little bit of an intro, say hello, make fun of Mike a little bit. Let's get into the show.
It sounds like you're making fun of me.
Well, he's making fun of you.
Yeah.
I wasn't. Well, yeah, eventually everyone gets to be a brunt of the joke. Olivia, why don't you lead us off? And bodily autonomy is the topic. Now, you hear bodily autonomy from women most often of, keep your hands off me. It's my body, my choice. I can do what I want to. And no government should tell me what to do with my body. And that's the only thing I agree with, right? I think most people here believe that the government shouldn't tell people what to do. However, we're going to talk about it tonight. And specifically about men's role in bodily autonomy. And do men have a leg to stand on? I'm sorry, Michael. In an effort to talk about bodily autonomy. Liv, take us away. Let's hear about it. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I don't know where I was thinking about this, but a couple weeks ago it just popped into my head about the rules and laws and the rights of men getting a vasectomy versus women getting an abortion.
What are you thinking about and why? And why?
I
why
don't know.
Why do you want to do that to me?
I don't know. Popped into my head when I was getting ready for work.
I don't understand why you want to have me go through that torture, as many surgeries as I've had. Can we talk offline, folks? Good night, folks. It's been wonderful having you here on the Don't Unfriend Me Show. We'll see you next week. So we're just kidding. All right. Go ahead.
All right. So I just remember I've got a few friends that have had a vasectomy, and I just remember all of them have said that they had to get their wife's permission. The wife had to sign a permission slip, that they didn't want to do it. They said, you're too young. What happens if you want more kids? And the doctors were very resistant to do it, even though they'd already had kids. They knew they didn't want any more. They were in their late 20s, early 30s, and these doctors didn't want to do it. And this was mainly in Washington and California. Go figure. So I was like, I'm going to do a little research comparing the rights and the laws. And I mainly looked at California and New York because they're two of the states that have the most lenient abortion rules. So, with abortion, it's pretty much any time in those two. There is you don't have to, it's available to anyone. You don't have to be a resident. You don't have to, if you're a minor, you don't have to get your parents' permission.
No, this is abortion.
This is abortion. In the state of New York, you don't have to get your parents' permission. Is
there an age limit or anything?
No. Doesn't say. I didn't find an age limit.
Okay.
So you're minor, you don't need to get parents' permission. You do not need to get the father's permission. Keep that in mind. You do not need to get your partner, the father of the child, your husband, your lover, who else, whatever.
What about a transition to male?
I didn't look into that one.
I'm sure the transition male, we have to get permission from him, right?
So yeah, and there is no mandatory or time period that you have to wait. There's no counseling. There's no mandate. There's no waiting period. Nothing. It's you can go in, you can get it, and that's it.
Second, Jennifer Cockfield, what a fantastic name. Her shirt is available at thedumbshow.com. You go to thedumbshow.com, type in make women or female again, whatever. It's there, available in all different shapes and sizes. I will tell you that if you are a woman who happens to be a little bit more well endowed in the top, you might want to order a size up. They are athletic fit. Go at it. And remember, use code DUM10 to save 10%. Thanks for asking, Miss Cockfield. I'm going to say Cockfield because I feel bad saying Cockfield, but go ahead, Olivia.
Okay. So then I was like, I'm going to look up all of the vasectomy rules. So you have to be at least 18 to get it. And you have to have proper counseling and informed consent before any man can get it. Now, doctors have the right to perform it based on their personal opinions of whether or not that man is too young to get it. So in California, doctors have too close? Too far? Okay.
Go ahead. I'm just fixing your mic.
Doctors have a professional and ethical obligation to do what they feel is in the best interest of their patients. How do they know what is in the best interest of their patients?
It's a great question.
Why is it that in California and New York, they don't care about the babies? Abort them up till the day before they're due, whatever. But yeah,
wait. Time out. Is that true?
Well, I mean, they did have up to the day of abortion.
They tried to pass that legislation, but I heard it didn't pass. So I just want to be clear when we say something, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but we have to be careful because I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea. There was legislation that was actually up until even birth, where the mother could make a decision if the baby was disformed or had the heart outside the body or something to that effect. But that has not passed. But those are
I hadn't heard that.
Okay,
yet,
cool.
So.
Sorry, I just want to make sure. Go ahead.
No. So with California and New York having very lenient rules about abortion, they have the strictest rules about vasectomies. Why is that?
Yeah.
I didn't understand. And then I looked up, Idaho has the most restrictive rules about abortion, like a total ban on abortion.
Yeah, Idaho's pretty strict.
Anything after 6 weeks is completely banned. There was absolutely nothing I could find on vasectomies. Nothing. I searched and searched and searched. There's no rules. None. So there's no counseling. There's no anything. It's like flipped. So I thought that was very interesting of why in states where they don't care about saving babies and murdering them is fine, and my body, my choice as far as, women, but when it comes to the men, they don't have a choice. Why can't they do my body, my choice? It is their body. They can choose if they want to have kids or not. They should have that right.
Okay, so much for the questions.
Yeah.
No, I love that though, but you know what? Because I think it creates questions, right? So that opens up the discussion, and it's a good one. Is bodily autonomy sexist?
Yes.
I think that's the question, right? I think that's everyone should be asking right now, based upon that very thorough explanation, and based upon states that we understand. Idaho is extremely conservative, and California and New York aren't, and the polar opposite. So is it sexist? Who wants to go? Let's start having the conversation and go from there.
I'll go, or Leeroy.
Okay.
But really quick before anyone goes,
No,
I don't
go
know
right
if it's just on my screen or if this is for like all the viewers can see this, but the Spreely TV is covered on mine with the number of viewers watching.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if that's
it's the only spot we've got right now. So I will figure out how to watermark that, but that's what we've got. You know what? Maybe what we can do is,
can you move it down?
Now we'll just put it right there. There we go. Okay, Spreely TV. Merry Christmas. Good call. Thank you. Because branding's important, damn it. Go get him, Amy.
I'm a woman, so I think I'm a little biased.
Wait a second. What?
Are you
When
sure?
did this happen? When the hell did
Really?
this? Has anyone got visual evidence of this? Because pictures, or it didn't happen.
I think her
Right.
gender reassignment surgery finally went through, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where she was last week. I heard it only takes a week to heal. So
With the cover story
in,
about
in Leeroy's case, it's literally like clipping a fingernail off, and then he's back to work. So, not much to remove.
Good God.
Go ahead, Amy.
Can't even imagine. Yes, I was born a woman. I still identify as one, and
Good.
proud to be one at that. So I do think I'm a little biased on this as a woman. I do think the healthcare system as a whole is more biased against women for most things. I mean, I think women are more likely to go see a doctor. I think that's just kind of how we're genetically, and not maybe genetic, but just raised that way. It's a more of a acceptable thing in society that women, we get sick, we go to the doctor. That's why we technically live longer most of the time, because we do get our checkups and things like that. But I do think for women's health care, especially when it comes to reproductive organs versus the male reproductive system, I think women are kind of pushed to the side. It's like you don't get a lot of rights. And I think the doctor is very pushy. I've had a doctor tell me for probably 10 or 15 years that I should have surgery that I just don't want to have. I feel like I'm too young for that surgery, and they've been pushing me forever. And I think it's because I'm a woman, and although I don't plan on having any more children, I don't want to get rid of my parts that were given to me. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I don't want to get rid of anything that's been given to me. And I think as far as birth control, it's pushed on women. It's kind of like our responsibility. Like, you are the one that's going to take care of this. I think men
Right.
should be allowed to have a vasectomy if they want to. Actually knew a gentleman, this is probably 25 years ago, who had a vasectomy at a very young age. And I remember the hoops he had to go through. He never wanted to have kids. He knew that. And he didn't want to be at the risk of getting a woman pregnant. So he had a vasectomy at a very young age. It was very difficult for him, but he knew he never wanted to have kids. I don't think he regrets that decision to this day. I think some people do know. And I think the proper vetting is important. And I think if a man wants to have a vasectomy, especially if he's promiscuous and is sleeping with, lots of partners and doesn't want that risk of having a child that he's not prepared for, I think it should be allowed. And I'm not certain, but aren't vasectomies pretty reversible? Like, can't you have them reversed if you change your mind later? I don't know, but I think that might be a thing.
Not with a 100% success rate, but yes, it's available. By the way, we have a caller who's here. What's your name, ma'am?
Birth control makes women unattractive and crazy.
Yes.
I hate men.
Thank you, Miss Clinton. I loved you on your dais when you ripped apart that man who's probably that guy committed suicide, that poor kid. We've got the video. If we have time, we'll cover it. All right. So what else, Ames?
That's it. I mean, I've never had an abortion, but I think it's fairly easy even where we live in Virginia, which is pretty middle road.
This state is absolutely whacked right now. Every single commercial for the liberals is, folks, you murdering children is on the docket. I thought it was democracy is on the ballot. No, ripping your child out of your womb and vacuuming it into pieces is on the ballot. And Republicans want to take your ability to murder people. Seriously, is this okay, it's cornflakes, it's air, water, and murdering children. Like that's the etymology the hierarchy of what's important in life. And I'm just like, why is abortion one of the biggest topics in Virginia? Why is it important? And it's because the Democrats are jumping all over this because it's polling well with Gen Z. Amy, put a bow on it. Want to get your or tie it off would have been a better tie it off. What else? What else are we missing?
Tie them too.
Just send her that son of a.
Yeah, I think women can get her tubes tied pretty easily, from what I understand. But so I don't know about the Virginia laws versus vasectomy and abortion or getting your tubes tied or getting fixed or whatever you want to call it. But it does seem a little one-sided. But I also feel that way about abortion. I think it is also very one-sided. I think men, assuming that the woman knows who the father is, should have a say in that child's life. But again, I don't like abortion anyway. I wouldn't.
Well, the courts don't recognize that, right? Nobody recognizes that. Leeroy, what are your thoughts, buddy? I know you got something.
Oh boy, do I! But what's my time limit? So
not long.
First of all, it's a false equivalency, right? When we're talking about abortion versus a vasectomy, really that comparison should be between a vasectomy and a hysterectomy or getting one's tubes tied. Those are the same. An abortion is going after that third, unique DNA strand of life. It's neither the mother nor the father. It's both. And so when we start talking about that, I understand everyone that the argument that is coming from the left is I can't tell a woman what to do with her body. But we also expect the government to intervene when we call 911 to save a life, right? We also expect the government is going to do its part to force vaccinations. The problem is that, we're not telling a woman what she can or cannot do with her body. We're telling her what she can or cannot do to somebody else's. And that's the problem. I'm not for abortion. Never have been. I think that in some unique cases it is warranted. But at the end of the day, what Matt just said about, Virginia, it's going to become a major issue because it's voting season, because they need it to be a hot ticket item, because they want to be able to put this on the ballot to say, look, this is the one time where the governments can kind of put a little bit of a hint of this is big government at work. And it's that presto, changeo, sleight of hand thing going on where they can say, look, this is big government and you need to vote against it. Yet for every other instance of big government that they stand behind, that's the one cups and balls trick that Penn and Teller kind of talk about, right?
Balls and shaft?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not the balls and shaft.
No, that
That's
was a secret society in the 50s. Never mind the balls and shaft. Forget it. I apologize.
I know you know about the balls and shaft.
Yeah, and the bones. Yeah, and skulls and bones.
And the bones. So, but is it sexist? Yes. There are huge swaths of the health industry that are sexist. I feel like definitely there's a difference in how the health industry treats the genders. But Olivia, again, abortion is a third ticket item.
Sorry, folks. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. No, it's fine. Olivia, final thoughts on that, and then I'll chime in something quick.
I think I pretty much said my opinion. I just think it's definitely bias, for sure. If men don't have a right to be able to save the life of their unborn child, why should the woman have the right to say you can't have a vasectomy? It should be, it's my body. If they're going to use the it's my body, it's my choice, the men should be able to use the it's my body, it's my choice. And no doctor should be able to tell a patient what they think is best for them, as far as if patient goes in and goes, I want this surgery, they should be able to get it as long as it's feasible. If you kind of yeah.
No, it makes sense. But my opinion is pretty, I think, open and shut from both sides. I am pro-life. However, I think the right to life bill that the Republicans have proposed is not only lucid and based, it's fair. It covers the big three: mother, obviously in danger, rape, incest, and they've put in a number of 15 weeks. And I don't think that's Republicans openly saying that life starts at 15 weeks. I think what it states is we're willing to make an accommodation to save, 85% of the overall birth control type contraceptive that's murder. It's not the after morning pill. It's not using a diaphragm. It's not using spermicide jelly. It's murder. And you're going in and you're terminating something because, I understand the conservative argument that will turn into a full-blown human being in life. And I believe life starts at conception. But I do also believe that the government should never tell a human being what to do, ever, including abortion. And that's hard for me to say, but I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth because then we'll be liberals. Because liberals want big government for everything. They want healthcare. They want free college. They want unabashed home loans and business loans. They want welfare for anyone who needs it or puts themselves in the disposition that they feel they need it. They want bigger IRS. They want bigger taxation. They want a global police force. They want open borders and mass immigration. These are the things that they want, and that's all big government. Hold on a second.
They want the government to stay the hell out of the bedroom, right?
No, that was my point that you just took from me. Thanks a lot. So I'm glad I teed that up for you to knock it out of the park. No, it's good, dude. Just, and ladies and gentlemen, Leeroy didn't have enough to say the first time. So let's go ahead, Leeroy. Why don't you just go ahead and do it again? Is there anything else you wanted to say, Leeroy?
No, that was it.
Are you sure? I mean, it's
good now.
I only went. It's kind of funny. Out of everybody, I've got the clock here. I'm the one who talked the least, and still wasn't good enough for you. So let's move on. That's like me reading Harry Potter and be like, and the days when Potter received his owl and Dumbledore and McGonagall knocked on his door and Voldemort fucking dies at the end and so does Harry. And I'm like, oh, what did you just do, Mike? Got a tear in his eye because he loves Harry Potter. But you're right, Leeroy. They want big government for everything except for what they don't. And instead of using that as a jump-off point and a point that we can actually agree upon and say, well, listen, you want to regulate guns, you want to regulate this, you want to regulate that, but you don't want to have regulation in your bedroom. You don't want to have regulation in your pants. You don't want to have regulation in your womb. So therefore, can't we understand a compromise that we disagree, but we also agree on the premise that we can change the topic, but have that in common? The last thing I'm going to say about this, unless Leeroy wants to go again, is selective service. And you are already telling men what to do with their bodies, and we have to put our life on the line with the draft, which is what we're going to go through. And I will tell you that you have a much better chance to survive through pregnancy and childbirth and rearing a child until the adult age than I do carrying a rifle in a foreign country and dying. So all we need to do is look at Vietnam for that number and look at the amount of amputees, look at the amount of mental trauma and anguish, look at the amount of disease that came out of that from Agent Orange and other chemicals. And if we want to impose a new draft, you can imagine how much death and destruction will happen, because it ultimately will mean a new world war. And you don't get to go ahead and say that. I can't tell you what to do with your body when you tell me what I can do with mine. And that's my life. Imagine that. Imagine if we said, you have to sacrifice your life to save your child's life. Can you imagine how crazy that would be? We're going to kill you to save your child. Now, that's something I'd say, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
Because now it switches. And you're saying I have to go and serve my country and die overseas. I think it's a little ostentatious of liberals to pretend that they don't understand the moronic nature of their argument. Leeroy, thanks for letting me make fun of you a little bit and joke with you.
No, that's fine. And there's to your point though, there's a little bit of a Soylent Green feel to that when they say, look, you're going to have to sacrifice yourself to save your kid. Well, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. What the hell happened to liberty?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, what happened to the basis of what happens in your bedroom should stay in your bedroom, right?
If so many people want to use it for birth control, why can't you just use abortion for birth control? Why not be able to use a vasectomy as birth control too? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, the thing is that on the other side of the coin is Republicans need to own the following. Christian conservatives predominantly, specifically between 1992 all the way till 2008, were adamantly arguing against birth control, contraception, educating children in the school. This is the fault of conservatives for leaving liberals with no other choice in their heads other than terminating the pregnancy. I am not a Planned Parenthood fan, but I also can't say that Olivia and I haven't participated in Planned Parenthood when we were younger and didn't have a lot of money, and they saved my wife's life. So I can't really disagree with Planned Parenthood. They recognized something that she needed surgery for, and that's huge. And they provided birth control for her free of charge for a couple of years when we were, a little younger and didn't have insurance. So I understand that there are multifaceted platforms, and they're all very complicated, where people can do good and bad at the same time. And although I do not agree with stem cell research, and I don't agree with government paid or taxpayer paid abortions, and let's face it, it's very much like the argument with Iran, where they say, oh, well, they only use the money for humanitarian needs. Right, but that frees up another $1.6 billion or $6 billion for terrorist activity. The same thing with Planned Parenthood. You can subsidize in one thing, and then it can be used for another on the budget line. So it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. So the ethical argument here, I agree with Planned Parenthood. I think it's a necessity. I think we need to educate our children. I think they need access to condoms. And sometimes maybe you can't ask mom and dad for those things. And having it at school, I would rather have that child ask the parent and talk about it. But that's not going to happen all the times. And it's much better to give that child a condom, obviously with parents' consent that they should, if they don't feel comfortable, than having an abortion. I think everyone would agree now. But back in 1992 till 2006, most Christian conservatives would say no to both, that a condom was a pathway to Satan and hell.
Yep.
Times have changed. Amy, did you have something to chime in on that?
Well, I mean, when I was younger, I obviously had different views than I do now. But I really think now, and I am much stronger in my faith as I get older. I mean, I feel like I've been a pretty decent Christian my whole life, but getting back to my Catholic roots, I do really believe in teaching, especially my kids, about the family unit and really pushing that. And I think having the strong values instilled in our kids from a young age is really the best way to prevent all of these things. I mean, I hope that my kids, I'm realistic too. I don't expect them to be virgins there until they're married, but I think it would be nice. But putting the emphasis on building a family relationship before bringing children into the world, I'm hoping to instill that into my children. And the mindset is just not that in our country or even in the world. And so I don't know how we get back to that. And maybe I'm wrong, but
I'm not
I
sure
really
you
feel
can.
it's the right choice personally.
Leeroy, you go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm not sure you can. The way I see it, teenagers, when their hormones are just banging away at full tilt, there's a difference between, the hormonal kind of state of mind of a teenager versus someone who's mature enough to understand what marriage is really about. And so I think you're always going to have, just due to human biology and the human condition, you're always going to have that disparity between the idea of premarital sex versus, mature marriage. Just my take on it.
Yeah. Well, and Glenn just made a great point. He's like, stem cell research, listen, I'm not saying stem cell research isn't something that is warranted and needed. I think it needs government regulation, and it doesn't need, and I'm not one of those Republicans that believe that all regulation is bad. I think that's stupid. There needs to be some regulation. There needs to be some limitation on private sector companies doing things without some sort of oversight. That's how you get Google. That's how you get Ma Bell. That's how you get Southern California Edison and monopolies. If you don't have some sort of oversight and restriction, that's how you get an Apple. Planned Parenthood absolutely needs oversight, but I think there should also be an option outside of Planned Parenthood that provides a similar service that isn't private. I believe in private industry being a solution, but I also believe that the government and private industry competing against each other creates innovation, lower prices, and overall an efficacy of quality of product that's even better. For example, USPS, UPS, FedEx, DHL, that competitive nature between those made the USPS better. But if you go look at not that it's great at sending a letter, but it's cheaper now than it was to send a package USPS versus going through UPS or FedEx. That competition's good. Private school versus public school, great competition. Look at the situation in Flint, Michigan, the lead pipes and the water systems. Mm-hmm. That was actually produced by a private company, not the government, where the government has had actually more success with distribution of water in larger cities in the state government than private industry. So you need checks and balances. I think this is no more apparent than in Planned Parenthood and education of our children. I think we need to keep them separate. I think they need to compete against each other. I think it can drive prices down and can create more consistency. So some regulations needed. Liv, anything else on the topic?
No, I think
I just want to add one more thing.
Go for it.
I just wanted to say that stem cells are also found in umbilical cords. You can save your child, so you can get the stem cell research without having to use aborted babies. That's all.
Correct. Now, there's some things you can't do with it, right? So that's the one thing. And now they're starting to do 3D printing and genetic growth of stem cells, and they have the digital mapping for it. And a lot of people will tell you that it's 100% accurate and they can clone a human being. Well, those people also think that Hillary Clinton's a lizard. But they're generating 3D printing machines and technologies moving forward. So the thing is that if you looked at space flight, people at one point thought that was, and regular flight was witchcraft. So people will open up to change. They will open up to things they disagree with. And I believe science needs to move forward, but I also think theology needs to move forward as well. And you need to establish parameters of what's morally acceptable. And we have to have that conversation. We can't do things without bringing in science and theology simultaneously, because it is a multifaceted belief system in most people. Most people trust science. Most people trust God. And when you put those two together, a conversation is needed with both. And that's really hard when you have the government involved. And that's where private industry comes in, is they are under no restrictions with separation of church and state. Leeroy, I know you might have something. Did you have something else?
No, I was just saying yes, in complete agreement, because I have that conviction. I absolutely agree with what you just said.
Yeah, it's important. You got to have both. All right, so let's get to the next thing. I want to talk a little bit with Leeroy when it comes to.
Can I say something real quick? Sorry.
Well, I had one thing too. Is this about Tina?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to do that right now.
Okay.
So that's fine. If you want to go ahead and do it, I'll put the picture up.
No, I just wanted to remind you. That's all.
So thanks, babe. No problem. I appreciate it. Tina Savage, everybody, is a loyal follower and listener. And I was this grandfather or father? Do you remember who?
I think it's her husband.
Husband. Okay, that is correct. Not taking any political positions here, but her husband got, I believe, the vaccination and is now in the hospital and had an adverse reaction to it. That's my understanding. So I know Amy and others have created a prayer chain for him. He is in a bad state. He's on a breathing machine, oxygen, and just want to take a moment. I'm not good at this. Amy, I know you are, and Leeroy, I know you are. So if you wouldn't mind, just lead a little prayer for him. And Tina has served in law enforcement. She's an amazing addition to our show. She offers broad perspective. But tonight, we just need to say a little prayer. I would appreciate it. And Amy, would you mind leading us off?
Sure. I'm Catholic, so I do in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Bless us, O Lord, and please keep, I don't know his name, I'm so sorry, Tina, but Tina's husband needs your help. He needs your uplifting spirit. We ask you to please watch over him, all the doctors who are caring for him. We ask you to keep him safe, keep his care going, and please just bless him with a miraculous recovery, God. We ask you this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to put you.
Recited prayers. We're not really. We do our recited by the book prayers. So,
no, it's that
fine. Was very good impromptu, Amy. That was very good.
Yeah, as long as you're not, throwing away wafers and drinking wine and stuff, I think you're fine. Start cascading holy water all over the place.
But I will pray for him in my prayers, and I'll have.
Yeah, I will too. I'm not very good at that, and it's not. My cousin's whole thing at Thanksgiving dinner was God is grateful, God is good, and we thank you for this food. That was his prayer, and I always loved it too. And I'm sure if Megan's watching, she just laughed because I think he probably still does it. But we all can take a moment and just say a prayer. It's not hard, and you can just send thoughts. It doesn't matter if you didn't bow your head and feel something there. Then you're not really seeing the thing that most feel, because I'm not the most religious person, but I felt something. And even if it adds inner peace to you, then it's a benefit. So yeah, it's very strange. Religion, who would have thought? All right. Olivia, anything else? We love you, Tina. You're amazing. And just let us know and keep us informed, please. Yeah, this is a good opportunity to move to the new speaker. I think this adds a complexity to what we just talked about when it comes to some of the challenges. Leeroy wants to talk about this, but before we do talk about this, we're going to go ahead and watch his announcement. I want you to pay attention to this lady here, who basically is Rose from the Titanic. She's dropped off the heart of the ocean, and she's back now. And then I also want to talk about this Yahoo who's wearing a cowboy hat indoors. I'd like to have a conversation with him. I don't know. the sanctity of our country, the White House, the floors of Congress, the marble inlay. I don't know. I think there's a level of respect. I take my hat off at breakfast for a reason. I understand I'm wearing it in the show, but it's a little bit different when you're representing. But anyway, whatever. Watch her, and I want to talk about her specifically, but then I want to talk about the speaker, because here's the question. Leeroy has a bigger question than I do, but is he destined to fail no matter what he does? And that's really what I want you to think about when you listen to him, and not just with Democrats, but also his own party. And then Leeroy's going to expand on that. Here's the video. Listen up. In a second. Remember when that would have taken me an hour to fix? And I'd be like,
Yes.
oh my God, hold on, everybody. Everyone hold on. I'm tied to a big one here. Everyone hold on now. Now it's just like, oh yeah, I got to switch the speaker.
Waiting, it's been quite a process. Democracy is messy sometimes, but it is our system. This conference,
it's a republic.
you see, this House Republican majority is united. I'm honored to have the support of my colleagues, and what they understand about this is servant leadership. We're going to serve the people of this country. We're going to restore their faith in this Congress, this institution of government. America is the last best hope of man on the earth. Abraham Lincoln said it. Ronald Reagan used to remind us all the time, and we're here to remind you of that again. We're going to restore your trust in what we do here. You're going to see a new form of government, and we are going to move this quickly. This group here is ready to govern, and we're going to govern well. We're going to do what's right by the people. And I believe the people are going to reward that next year. But we have a lot of big priorities ahead of us right now. The world is on fire. We stand with our ally, Israel.
It's nice to see Lauren Boebert using both hands.
It took the words. All I could think was, oh, there's Lauren Boebert.
Yeah, at least Boobert's using both hands. This show, she's actually acting appropriately, which is always exciting. So I'm glad we all caught on to that.
We have a very busy agenda. We have appropriations bills to get through the process, but you are going to see this group working like a well-oiled machine. We owe that to the American people. The people up here have been sent here by the people of this country to do this job, and we are going to do it well. We commit that to you. Thank you for allowing us to go through the process and get to this. It was worth it, and we are going to serve you well.
So my only question is then why didn't you put him forward the first time if he was the best choice? Ladies and gentlemen, our seventh choice. Our seventh best choice of the night. Come on.
It's like the kid when you're choosing teams in school and you got like the 7 kids on either side and there's one dude left.
Right.
And you're like, oh, we'll take him. We'll take him.
It's like the transgender from Rhode Island in the beauty pageant. You're just like, you know what? We got to put that guy forward because if we don't, we'll all be transphobic. All right, here we go. I'm teasing. Listen, we'll get into it. Let's watch the rest.
Tomorrow and make this official, and so we will be doing that. And if there are any questions, we'll take a couple. But we're all pretty weary. The intention is to go at noon tomorrow.
You guys, it's very hard to hear because, first of all, that mic is way too far from his mouth. And second, whoever has this thing, they have it as a full cardioid, not a non-cardioid pattern. It's at a full circular pattern. So when they scream, it clips out. It's not my fault. There's nothing I can do about it. And I'm having to constantly adjust the volume so I don't blast out your eardrum. So read lips.
I don't know. All of them. Yeah, we have some folks absent, and I'll be working with them tonight. So. I don't know what the final total was. We're united. We're united. There were no votes against.
Can you help lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results?
I wish I could hear the questions.
Oh my gosh. Do you want to? Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you go get in the audience and complain like everyone else is for me? Come on. I'm doing the best that I can. There's nothing I can do about it. I didn't create the video. You're just going to have to listen to it. What they said was to her, you made me lose my train of thought now.
Sorry.
Does anyone remember what question they asked her? Oh, him supporting the stolen election. And she hit him with that. So let's try to listen to it again. We've only got 40 seconds, so your ears will have to bleed for a little longer. Yeah, were you the head guy who tried to overturn the 2020 election? So yeah, it's really hard to hear, but there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, so there goes Rose. Shut up! Get off my door.
Next question. Let's go. I'm very confident.
All right, enough of this clip and crap. All right, so vote HR 217 or 277, one of the two. Sorry, baby. I want to make it that we can all hear it, but unfortunately, they need a new audio guy. By the way, you can call me at the Don't Unfriend Me Show, and I'll be happy to fix your audio. Seriously. It's interesting because appropriations bill, it took Kevin McCarthy 9 months to get an appropriations bill even to the floor. And this guy does it in 24 hours. There has to be something there, right? There has to be a reason for that. Now, whether I agree with that bill or not is neither here nor there. But Leeroy's going to bring us down and ask us some very profound questions to try to connect the dots. And not yet. I'm not done, Leeroy. Down, boy. Sit. Ubu, sit.
Good dog.
Okay, go get him, Leeroy. Go get him, boy. Go. Go get him.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, you've got the floor. You're on fire tonight. Just bring it.
All right. So what do we know about the guy, right? Well, so first of all, Mike Johnson is a conservative from Louisiana. He's 51 years old. And when the vote occurred, it was 220 Republicans against how many Democrats had voted for the guy? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Zero.
Not a clue.
Yeah.
Zero?
There were 200. There were 209 votes against. So this whole time when I've been watching Facebook and we're looking at the Democrats basically throwing the Republican Party under the bus, saying, hey, look, they can't get anything together with their party. And here, it's part of that is because they're going all in on who they don't want. Anyway,
right.
Moving on. So what do we know about the guy? He's a Christian conservative. Part of his former platform was that he opposed gay marriage.
Who didn't?
Right.
Who did? Right? Is that fair? Who didn't, Leeroy?
No,
is that
that's
fair?
true. That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
He, at several points, opposed gay marriage and a ban on abortion. He's a strong Second Amendment advocate. He voted for H.R. 38, which is the Conceal and Carry Reciprocity Act. And
do you want to explain what that, Leeroy, do you want to explain what that means?
Well, basically what I'm trying to go to.
Just right the reciprocity. Do you know what so people understand?
Go ahead.
No. I want you to explain what reciprocity is. And if you don't, I want to explain it real quick so people understand.
So that if an Ohioan or a Floridian goes to another state and they have their concealed carry license, right, that under federal law, that permit would be permissible in California or in New York. And so that's pretty huge. So he's a very strong Second Amendment advocate. And the reason I mention all of this is because when we're talking about gay marriage, when we're talking about abortion or the Second Amendment, even the status of the economy, he was quoted as saying that when Americans don't want to have a government shutdown, right? He was quoted as saying that Americans have, quote unquote, had enough in reference to the debt level. So this guy is definitely about as hardcore Republican as it gets. Politico just got done doing a story on him. And when they kind of broke down some of his attributes, they had mentioned, and I didn't know this, that he worked for a a Christian conservative legal advocacy group before his time in Congress. And in 2003, he tried to input a lawsuit that attempted to block gay city workers from receiving healthcare benefits, which I thought was, wow, that's this. So this is really, really kind of about as strict as one gets. The Hill recently reported, and this is where the rubber kind of meets the road on a lot of this stuff. The Hill basically asked, what would it take, right, for him to have a successful run during his time here? And some of the questions that they posed were, can he unify the Republican Party? Can he broker a deal to keep the government open? Will he want to scale back Ukrainian aid? How will he deal with the former President Trump, right? God forbid he should become the next nominee. And then the fifth question was, will he be able to send enough votes or to garnish enough votes to keep House majority? So when Matt is talking about, all right, what's it going to take for this guy to have a successful term? Those are the questions that are in the balance. He would have to bring all of these hot button issues together and kind of find that middle ground on each individual issue. And again, it's going to be things like, how the hell is this guy going to unify the Republican Party? Because right now it looks pretty fractured. Any future deals that would be kind of pitched in terms of Ukrainian aid, I think is another huge hot button issue. This is one of those items where a lot of people, mostly on the left, they are saying, yes, we need to send everything we can to Ukraine in terms of aid. And a lot of people on the right are basically saying, whoa. Look, we want to support Ukraine, but do we really need to send that much? So there's a lot of these types of questions that will kind of dictate his successes and failures in terms of the House Speaker. That's where I wanted to post that. That's where all of that boils down to Matt's question, which is, go ahead and throw that back to Matt.
Yeah, it's literally, is he damned no matter what he does? And, I think the biggest thing that I would say is there's nothing he can do to appease Democrats. There's nothing. This guy could go walk on water and cure cancer, and we know this because of the way they treated Donald Trump. Donald Trump did incredible work from a policy standpoint, and nobody on the left gives him credit at all. Now, Newsom and Cuomo from New York gave him credit during COVID for the hospital ship and then also some of the funding they released, but very little in the way of acknowledging what he has done. And I've done that show. I'm not going to do it right now. But I'll go first because I went last time, and I'll go pretty quick here, is I don't care what the Democrats say because it's immaterial, because all of it is simply smoke and mirrors, and it has nothing to do with reality. What I do care is what the Republican Party says, and I'm going to tell you that they're going to crucify this guy.
Yep.
That no matter what he does, that party, there you've got the neocons, you've got the uniparty, you've got the far right, and then you've got the moderate Republicans. It is a complete snafu in the GOP right now. And you've got 25% that supports anyone other than Trump, and you've got 70% that only support Trump, and you've got 5% who want somebody else who isn't Trump, and anyone else who is Rand Paul. So you've got this horrible this pathway in front of him. They're already hitting him on his prayer that he had, which I thought was beautiful because it was Democrats and Republicans taking a knee, and they weren't wearing African garb. That was actually a tribe in Africa that promoted slavery. Go Democrats, if you all remember that COVID bullshit where they kneeled 6 feet apart.
Right.
And it was all white. It was all white Democrats behind, and behind them was the Black Caucus. I'm like, oh, you freaking, wow. Maybe you could go out there and get them on their slave plantation, master. Maybe you could do that too. Democrats go back to their old freaking lifestyle of promoting slavery. But No matter what he does, Republicans are going to eat him alive.
Yep.
And the dissension will continue until the Republicans have a party platform that they can all agree upon. We have to establish, the first thing he should do is partner with the leading candidates in the Republican nomination, predominantly Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and sit down and have a conversation with those people and have a party platform established with the RNC. You have to get all Republicans on the same page. They don't know what they stand for anymore. Ukraine is our biggest crux. We have to educate that Ukraine cannot be won. I'm just, okay, look me in the eye. Everybody, call in the show. Ukraine will not win. They can't. There's no feasible way Ukraine will win against Russia. It's just never going to happen. They can sustain with proxy, but how long will this take? The United States should want a 500-mile buffer between Russia and NATO. Europe should be embracing that. The moment that Ukraine becomes a NATO country, you're looking at World War III within 10 years. And I don't say that stuff. You have to have some sort of buffer. You've got to understand Ukraine cannot win against Russia. They may be able to hold out, but really the lines have been drawn. They're not going any further. And you can go ahead and do a separation and talk about Donbass, and you can talk about which areas, but now you've got Ukraine pushing into Crimea, hitting Crimea from long range with long range mile rockets, 500 miles, 250 miles, 100 mile, 50 mile armaments. That is a sign that it's over. The beginning of the end is coming. If they're hitting from long range, that means they don't have the troop movement. You take it World War II and you look at how many soldiers in World War I and World War II the United States was losing a day. It was 1,000 a day. Ukraine is on the same path. There's numbers of 400 to 450,000 dead in Ukraine. There's numbers of over 70,000 amputees and debilitated people. The Ukrainians are being slaughtered. They are being destroyed. The Republicans have to solve this problem. They have to talk to the American people. They have to broker some sort of treaty between the two, because what's going to happen now is Putin is going to pull back. He is going to lick his wounds. He is going to reinforce. He is going to reload, and he is going to hit them again. This will be a seasonal thing unless we get a hold of it. So the first step of the new speaker to approach us all about $100 billion funding of Israel and Ukraine and Taiwan already leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And I guarantee that 25% of Republicans, if not 50, are also feeling the same way. This guy is not going to be able to move forward until Republicans stand their ground. I know that's a long one, but that's the number one issue for me. It's going to be Ukraine. We have to end this damn thing. We have to get out of this thing. The United States is on the precipice of a Middle East war. And it's my belief that this is going to fire off in the Middle East, and we are going to be brought into it. We won't have a choice. And if that happens, the United States is leaving itself vulnerable. We do not have the munitions. We do not have the supply to fight a two-ocean war again. We couldn't do it in World War II, and we certainly can't do it now. I'll leave it open to whoever wants to address it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. As far as the new speaker, I think, was that The Hill that had that article? It says Mike Who. That was my thoughts. Seriously, I never have heard of this guy. But so I don't know. And I don't know a lot about his policies other than what I've read and what you guys have told me and what I've learned in the last the last 48 hours, really. I really just have no idea what to expect. So I'm really trusting you, Matt, because I really obviously believe everything that you say. I clearly know that you researched this, but I don't know, as far as all this stuff happening. I mean, with all the wars happening, I'm completely in agreement with you there. I've never been. I mean, I feel bad for the Ukrainians. I really do. I always have, but I never thought this was a war that we should really be a part of, like send things, but we are, I think, too involved, and it needs to end now, especially with what's happening in Israel. And, with the United States, I don't know, did we fire? We did some kind of air strike on Syria, I believe.
We
So
hit
I feel
Syria.
like, yeah. So
We
I'm
hit
like, it's
Syria and
getting,
back. Go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just saying, I feel like it's getting more serious for the United States over in the Middle East, and obviously we have a huge weight on our shoulders, I guess, to be involved in that. It's more important to our well-being as Americans to be on the right side of that.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing quickly, and then I'll pass over to Leeroy, is that when you are Ukraine and you are the State Departments inside and the Ministry of Defense inside Ukraine, and you are actually asking European countries and American-based units to arrest any fighting age Ukrainians and send them back to die, because that's what they're doing now. They're done. This war is over. It's over. Nobody knows it. Now, I've always been honest with you. I'm the one that said that Ukraine could hold out indefinitely with proxy, but I didn't say forever. And they did. They did an amazing job, but this is over. This is done. They've got 300,000 units. This is Israel waiting to go into Gaza. They have no munitions. They have no mechanized infantry. They have no air support that is not drones. Their missile defense is completely blown out of the water. And the United States cannot afford to spend the amount of money they need, which is $500 billion. Mm-hmm. We don't have that money. And to last another year, you need $500 billion to fund Ukraine properly. And you also need about a year. We don't have that. This is not World War II anymore. The complexity of manufacturing of our weapon systems, these are 5th generation weapon systems, 4th generation weapon systems. This isn't some B-29 bomber. This isn't a Sherman tank. That's a Volkswagen with freaking heavy armor, on steroids. These are complex weapon systems, and they take circuitry, they take material, they take metals, they take alloys that are in rare precious commodity. So this isn't World War II anymore. The United States needs to pull back, and you need to force some sort of treaty instead of forcing a treaty in Israel where no treaty will survive. In Ukraine, both will pull back and lick their wounds. You draw the lines, you give them the Donbass region. They were already falling into Russian hands. There's been a civil war there since 2014. Enough's enough. Just give them the fucking region, give them a port in the Black Sea, and let's go ahead and put the women and children to bed and go looking for dinner, okay? Let's do that. But you better focus on the Middle East, because there's no treaty that's going to stand in that area. That is a holy war, and it's been brewing for a lot longer than we've been around. And we need to understand that we're going to get sucked into it, and we better be prepared, because that's all it's going to take. Leeroy, go ahead. I'm sorry, buddy. I went off on this one.
No, you're fine. There are 2 points that I would make with regard to all of this. First is with regard to the speaker. Matt is talking about how this guy basically has no path forward to any sort of win in the future. And I would agree with that. I think just due to his policies and the way he's voted formerly, so kind of right-leaning, that it tends to alienate a lot of people. Certainly none of the Democrats are going to support the guy. But nope. Matt and I have talked about this before, how, most of the United States is actually pretty moderate. We agree. That was the whole point of this show, is that between the Democrats and the Republicans, there are more issues, or we have more in common between the two parties than we do that separate us. And this guy leans just far enough to the right. I mean, look at his bio. Opposes gay marriage, ban on abortion, supporter of the Second Amendment, and is okay with shutting down the government so long as it's, for an abbreviated period of time. This guy is pretty far right leaning. And again, what we're saying is that what the speaker needs to be is someone who's a little bit more moderate.
His answer today, Leeroy, when they asked about the world's problems and the problems with the United States and economy and border and all of it, his answer was pretty much read the Bible.
Yeah.
Not helping.
I'm not kidding. I'm not
I
kidding.
know.
That
I
was
know.
his answer. And just as we should not dictate what happens to a person's body, we should also not dictate spiritual leaders for the country. Just because, okay, I just want you to hear me. Just because we have 71% Christian in the United States, 76% Christian in the United States, what if Island Omar came up there and they said, hey, what do you think about all the world's problems? And she's the new speaker. God forbid it would never happen. But if she did, and she says, I pray to Allah and all these things, the entire world would go, the United States would go knucking futs. So
Right.
we need to keep this in perspective. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Right. So that was in terms of the new speaker. Now, in terms of Ukraine, and I've been saying this for a very, very long time. The United States doesn't need Ukraine to win. They just don't need them to lose. And there's a lot of gray area in that statement. But if you were to ask all of Americans just to find Ukraine on a map, most people couldn't do it. And they couldn't give a shit about Ukraine up until about 2 years ago. The only reason they care about it now is because it's in their face. It's always on CNN. It's always on Fox. It's always on every major media outlet to say, look, these are the news developments. And then when the media throws this stuff up as these are the latest atrocities, which true enough, that's the only reason anybody cared. If Ukraine loses tomorrow, how's it going to change your life? Honestly, will it? Will it change your life at all? The fact of the matter is, this is being thrown into the news mostly just to make sure that they get a specific type of political backing.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Matt is completely right. Ukraine does not really have a very big winning path here. Historically speaking, Russia does not give up on any conflict until they've lost about 500,000 men.
That's correct.
Right now, they are sitting at about 220,000 men lost, as best as we can tell. There's a lot of times where I don't input a lot of information into this channel simply because of what I do. In this case, though, I think it's relevant in terms of a historical perspective. Russia is in this for the long haul. The United States knows this. So we're giving them just enough material to keep Russia far enough off, just so that, God forbid they do win, by the time they look to any sort of NATO-backed country, that deck will already be stacked. They will look at their resources and say, look, this is too much. We need to end it here. And there's two points to that, really. There is not only the military and financial resources, but there's also the point of, if this goes on for too long, Putin is going to be advanced enough in age that somebody's probably going to want his job. And we really don't like Putin, so
yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
So, Amy, did you have
That was
something
my
before Olivia? No, I appreciate it. It's a good
Well,
point. Good question.
Just adding on to the Russia-Ukraine, I mean, no one likes Putin, I don't think,
Well,
except
there's
for
some
China.
people who do.
But
There's
I
people who
mean,
do.
hey, we did that show, like 10 best things about Russia, right? Didn't we do that like a year ago?
I don't know. Maybe.
Didn't we do like 10 things you didn't know about Russia? I don't know. I was like, oh, we're number one in Russia right now. Like we are
Vodka,
like
caviar,
we did a show about that. It was like a
pierogies,
certainly
but
snow,
tuberculosis,
snow.
Right.
AIDS.
It was like fun facts.
Puma tracksuits,
Yeah.
gold chains. So
They make the
go
best
ahead.
gangsters in movies.
Yeah.
Go
No,
ahead,
but we
Nancy.
don't. I mean, Putin's awful, but we don't know
Yeah.
who's going to be more awful than him that's next. One. And two,
Right.
the United States is kind of like the mother hen to a lot of countries like Ukraine. But we don't know when to say, okay, it's time to fly on your own now. We've
Right.
given you the resources. We have trained your soldiers. We have given you the correct equipment to fight this, but you are still relying on us. And
Yep.
we can't die because you can't take care of yourself. Like it's like welfare, it's like it's fine for a while. We're here to help you, but you have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. You have to learn how to do this on your own. And sorry, it's you're in a pickle right now, and it's not the best situation to be in when you need to learn these things, but sometimes under pressure is the best way to learn something when you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's all. That's my 2 cents.
Well, I completely think it's all valid points. And the problem is that we are throwing money away. We are throwing money away. And this meme sums it up. And it puts the bow on it and makes it make sense. This is where it's at. And that's the best way to describe it is Ukraine is left out in the cold. And that chick is totally Zelensky. Zelensky is jelly like no other. He wants his money. He wants his attention. And the thing is that he's a perfect size. I think I would be shocked if he doesn't dress up like a Christmas elf. And makes a Christmas list and sits on Santa's lap. And I'd like 1,500 Mavericks. I'd appreciate some 7.62 NATO rounds. I'd like a 120 millimeter howitzer. And this is what this guy is. Ukraine has lost. It's over. It's not. They can't beat Russia. And if you think I'm crazy, that would like you expecting Mexico to beat the United States. There is no scenario where Ukraine wins. Leeroy said there's a very small path to victory. There is no path to victory. You will never take Kremlin. Okay, you will never take the naval bases. You will never break the 127 some odd air bases. There is no chance in hell you take Mother Russia. So Ukraine needs to stop at this point, go to the table, lick its wounds, and pull back. Because if not, you're going to have a conflict with Ukraine, because the problem is everyone's like, I don't trust who they put in place of Putin. Well, either do I. That's a given. It's Russia. But I certainly don't trust Zelensky, and I don't trust anyone they put in place, because the oligarchs are still there. The mob is still there. It's not going to change. Leeroy, I'm almost done. It's not going to change in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to get better with time. It's going to get worse. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Isn't it funny that one of the very first hot topic items that Mr. Johnson is going to have to face as speaker is the looming government shutdown?
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly.
Why? Because of money.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's going to have to somehow contend with the looming government shutdown, but also deal with the far left who wants to send all of our paychecks to Ukraine in terms of aid. And that's I just don't know how that's going to be a rough sale, man. That is going to be such a
shit.
Your close on that is going to have to be huge.
U.S. won't draw red lines for Israel in war with Hamas. Was just announced.
What does that mean?
It means that they're not going to draw. Red line means if you cross this, we're done. Or if you cross this, we're going in. They're not drawing red lines against Israel. Israel just got the green light to go in. The United States government just gave Israel the green light. Now this is going to escalate. I'm telling you, man. This isn't. I know this. I know this AOR. I know this theater. Leeroy, you know this theater. There's no fucking way that the United States is not getting in a war. So they have to. That you cannot. Israel cannot fight a five front war. It just you can't do it. You're going to lose Israel. You lose Israel, then you have the fucking Middle East uniting, and you can't have that. No good. Leeroy can't say anything. So the only other thing I will say is somebody said there's supposed to be a news conference.
A what?
Someone said there's supposed to be a news conference at 10 o'clock.
I heard, someone was saying that the main shooter was found dead, or I don't know if they were found dead or if he is just dead. They shot him. I don't know, but I saw that in the chat. I was just trying to Google it to see what I could find.
I can't see anything. I don't see anything about him being dead. You guys look up, dummies, go look it up and let's find out. We got to move. It's 40:50. We got 20 minutes for the next two segments. I love how we're staying on time tonight. That's an exciting thing. Great topics, everybody. I mean, probably one of the, in my opinion.
Punctual. This is great.
Yeah, you certainly are with your interruptions. I'll tell you that much. Um,
Well, CNN saying he was found dead, and that was
Yeah.
9 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the guy that killed his girlfriend in the Grand Canyon or whatever and strangled her. I said he was dead, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, that guy's dead. He's in the swamp for 3 days. You're dead. You're not living in the swamp for 3 days.
He was. Remember that?
Someone asked me about the main shooter. I'm like, he's dead. He offed himself. Listen, okay. Everyone thinks that everyone in the military is on the SEAL teams, okay? This guy's a reservist, for Christ's sakes. I was watching Fox News, and they're like, this guy's got survival training, and he's been through SEER. And I'm like, dude, he's not special forces. And even if he was, you ask any soft guy, I'm going to throw you in the middle of the Florida swamp with your car, your keys, maybe a couple days of water and a knife and some matches. Are you going to live? And they're going to be like, yeah, for like 3 days until I dehydrate and die. Let's just relax here, folks. I mean, come on. This guy's not G.I. Joe. All right. So next topic. We gotta switch gears. Cenk Uyghur. You guys know how I feel about the old Turk. How I feel about old turkey bones. Listen, I've listened to every debate that Cenk Uyghur has, and I've got the proverbial hard on that one day I'll be able to debate this. Go ahead, Leeroy. Let's go ahead.
I just said he's
Leeroy, how many drinks? Can I just ask you how many drinks you've had tonight?
Just the one.
About 20? Are you pounding it over there? Go ahead, man. What did you want to say?
No, I was just saying he's a disappointing human. I genuinely do not like that guy. He's gross.
I agree with you. You should take that cigar and put it somewhere for him that the sun doesn't shine. I'm just giving you a hard time. You have good cadence usually. Tonight it's just like
it's the cigar for me.
I love it. Why don't you light that thing and put it in your mouth so I can finish a freaking intro, okay? All right. Cenk, don't be sorry, dude. We're busting balls. Cenk Uyghur, dude, don't listen. Matt's being grumpy. Of course, I'm going to be blamed for it. Of course. Cenk Uyghur is trying to reestablish his brand, and as you know, he has argued with Dinesh D'Souza and got mopped. He argued with Ben Shapiro and got mopped. I would love to see him and Peterson so he could get mopped. He's now went on Timcast, and I got to give Tim Pool props. Tim did a good job, and I'm not hard on Tim. I just don't understand why the guy hasn't invited me up to his show yet, and considering that I'm literally 5 miles from his house. Either he doesn't know I exist, which is probably true. Or we just haven't had the opportunity. But Cenk Uyghur decided to go on Timcast, and I have to admit, this is the most likable Cenk Uyghur has ever been. And I wanted to vomit in my mouth because I don't like this guy. No. In fact, I despise him. I think he is a sloven, gross, prideful, 7 deadly sins type of guy. But he actually made some decent, lucid arguments. And this wasn't one of them. And I want you to listen to this, but how he says it, just pay attention to how he says it. And then we'll come back and talk about it. Leeroy, did you want to chime in at all?
Well, I would just say that.
Okay. So here's Cenk Uyghur.
Hold on.
Well, it does depend on one thing, which is me winning my court case.
It's over.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
See how that worked out? Go ahead, Leeroy. I'm teasing.
I get it.
Dude,
He's just one of those gross people that knows how to run your life better than you do.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
He is one of those people that thinks that that's why he wants the keys to the kingdom, right?
That's right.
Because that's how authoritarians work. Go ahead. Sorry.
Listen, I still hate his face. I don't hate him, but I don't like the man at all. There's not many redeeming qualities. My point is listen to how he's trying to Bill Maher this. He realized is that the left is tiresome, that the trends, I guarantee his overall viewership is down. He's recognizing trends are down, and he's shifting because this is what he does. This guy placates to whoever is in charge, predominantly from liberal standpoint. But right now, the liberals are just as popular as the GOP. So he's trying to Bill Maher himself. And unfortunately, fortunately, Bill Maher's been doing that for 30 years. Bill Maher has always been, let me go ahead and listen to both sides, and I'll tell you if you're a complete asshole or not. Cenk Uyghur just tells you're an asshole without listening. So listen to what he says here. Listen to this complete bullshit, And I would encourage you to go over to Timcast, watch this. I mean, of course, he needs more viewers like Ukraine needs tracksuits. Here it is.
But you bring in Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, hear me out.
So who's the Republican who could win?
Well, it does depend on one thing, which is me winning my court case. Okay.
Oh, I see.
But you bring in Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, hear me
All
out.
right.
Hear me out. Hear me out. So Arnold doesn't agree with this election is stolen. Arnold's not a Trump guy, okay? But he is a Republican in two very important ways that today would resonate. And I wish that a Democrat would do it instead, okay? But one, since he's already rich and he loves this country, he hates corruption and he speaks out against corruption, okay? Boom, you're going to win already, okay? You're a non-objectionable Republican against corruption. You're going to win in a landslide if you ask me, okay? But hold on, it gets better for you guys. He's also hates the crime that has risen in places like California and in the big cities like New York, Chicago, et cetera, right? You take a non-objectionable Republican who's not a corporate stooge, who's against corruption and against crime, that brother wins in a landslide, okay? Now,
bullshit.
I think that's a stone cold reality. I don't know. I don't want a Republican to win, but I'm telling you the reality of my political analysis.
Bigger picture, perhaps you're correct. Smaller picture, that he said, "Screw your freedom." Do you remember that? That was bad for him. During COVID.
No. The Trump people would swarm him. I get it, but like Mike Pence isn't going to beat Donald Trump. Okay,
Oh, of course.
of course,
Pause
right?
it.
Nikki
Pause
Haley
it.
isn't going to beat.
No,
Donald
I'm
Trump.
not pausing it.
But Arnold,
Ron DeSantis is not going to beat Donald.
No, Ron DeSantis. None of those guys are. But Arnold could fight back, okay? And Arnold has a credibility of not being inside the system. And so they'll say to him, oh, yeah, you said this and it hurt our feelings. And you said that and it hurt our feelings. And then Arnold will say, yeah, I'm going to say more things that hurt your feelings. But at the end of the day, I'm going to get rid of corruption. I'm going to get rid of crime. He'll look, I'm going to stop talking about it because I want to.
All right. So I know Leeroy's got something to say. And I know. And Leeroy, I love the energy. I know. No, you don't. Not always. Tonight you do. And I love that. I love that energy. But I'm going to give the ladies a chance, right? Because you guys had your segment. I want Amy to have a chance to what she thinks and let her have a shot. Then I'll go Leeroy. Then I'll go Olivia. And then I'll go me. And everyone's, hey, I'm telling you, I'm running a tight ship. You either get with it or we got time limits now. We have got to. Amy, go ahead.
Permission to come aboard, sir.
Yes, sir. Granted. Now get in your frickin' rack and shut it. Go ahead, Amy.
Well, first of all, it's really hard for me to listen to anyone talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger without like his voice popping in my head and like I'll be back. Like I just like it's not a tumor. Like I don't know. I just like hear those on repeat in my head. First of all, so minus that. First of all, I'm with everyone else. I think on the panel. I don't like Cenk Uyghur, whatever I say his name. He makes my skin crawl, and I genuinely don't understand why anyone listens to him or values his opinion on most things. I can't wrap my head around it. And I like Tim Pool. I don't agree with him on everything either, and I think he's great. And he is like a local, so I support him for that. But I don't agree with anything he said about Arnold, and I don't know the full context. I didn't see the show, so I just don't agree with it.
He was just saying he was saying which Republican could win and beat Donald Trump, and he said Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, and I totally don't agree with that at all.
Run for president.
Go ahead, Liv.
Arnold Schwarzenegger can't run for president, so that's kind of a bullshit answer.
Right.
You knew that.
Right.
You knew that.
That's true. Right. Amy, go ahead. Anything else?
No, that's it. I really don't agree with anything he said. I think it's all incorrect. And again, yeah, he can't run. I actually kind of forgot about that. But yes, he's not a citizen. He cannot run. Where's he from originally? I forget. Doesn't matter. But
Austria.
Austria. Yeah.
The same place as Hitler.
Right. I don't
Somebody
think he's like
come
Hitler. I do like Arnold as an
you
actor.
obviously didn't live in California when he was governor. So
I did not.
Newsom sure is. I mean, Newsom's just like probably 5 minutes away from rounding up the Republicans and gassing them on cattle cars. I mean, Newsom's pretty freaking out there. But anyway, okay. So anything else, Ames?
No, I don't agree with him. I think he's wrong.
Perfect. Liv, what do you think about the Arnold? And you know, he wants to pump up U.S. elections.
Well, something tells me that Cenk Uyghur isn't as much of an idiot as I think he is. And he knows that Arnold Schwarzenegger can't run for office.
Okay,
so
can I correct something?
Yeah.
Nager. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay.
Be very careful because you are dropping the bomb. I mean, I'm just listen. This is the woman who said "struck match" one time, so I've got to be careful with you because you sometimes. So I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. Nega.
Excuse me.
It's okay. Go.
So, anyway,
Bullshit.
kind of a roundabout way saying that no one can beat Trump. Is that kind of what he's saying? You had to. Because if Arnold Schwarzenegger's the only Republican who can beat Trump, he can't run for president. So.
You would require Cenk Uyghur to have a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have one.
The only thing I can think of when I see Cenk Uyghur is the whole 2016 video of him melting down over Hillary Clinton.
Can I do the impersonation?
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen.
So great.
Whenever I'm having a bad day, I watch it and it makes me feel better.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hillary Clinton will be the next president of the United States. 3.5 hours later, fuck it, that's it. Turn the lights off. The whole world's over. Donald Trump won. Donald Trump.
It just, it's hilarious watching it.
It was so good. All right, Leeroy, I know you got an opinion on this. You know I've got one too. So I'm going to go first. I don't know. I don't know. Dude, you're the target. It's like Mike's not here, and Mike and I have this banter, and you and I always do, and we're right back into it, whether you like it or not. I don't care. Quickly, I'm just going to give you two things. California is a shithole, and it started with Tom Bradley, and it was followed up by Jerry Brown, and it was sealed with a kiss. And who's your daddy? What does he do? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, I know. I guess I get to the chopper, get down, but we don't have any fuel for the chopper. We cannot leave. Arnold Schwarzenegger destroyed California and just kept it on a trajectory of utter failure. He got in by preaching Republican and conservative moderate values, and when he got in, he turned liberal as shit.
It's because he's married to a Kennedy.
That's right. He's married to a Kennedy. Yep. That's where he's not an American. He's not an American. And when he talks about crime, California under his watch and under people like Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi with the 3 strikes rule. And if you go back and look at what he did, he literally put California on the path to absolute annihilation. You look at GDP growth, you look at overall welfare benefits, you look at infrastructure and roadsides, and you look at all of these things. You look at inflation in California during his administration. He was the worst governor ever, and they've had some of the shittiest. So to have him be the president of the United States is absolutely ridiculous. Second, he's a foreigner. He's probably illegal, knowing the Democrats. I'm sure he came over from the southern border. Leeroy, go ahead.
God, what can you say about Arnold? What can you say about Cenk? You know, who is your governor and what does he do? The problem, I'll tell you, the biggest problem that I had with what Cenk said there is
and he slept with a maid.
After
an illegitimate
it was
child with her.
Yeah.
He tagged the
so
maid,
no
dude.
conservatives would vote for him.
Yeah, I know.
He tagged the maid. That's all I'm going to say. And real quick. No. You've interrupted me so much tonight. And Cenk Uyghur has the smallest hands ever. Look at his hands. They made fun of Trump's hands.
Small hands.
Look at his hands, dude. This guy has a dick like a baby.
I'm just sorry for his wife.
Just let you know he has a dick
or
like
husband,
a baby. She can't find it. She has to push that thing up to get to it.
Can my God.
Can you hold? She'd be like this. Raise your hands if you're sure. Psych. Go ahead, Leeroy.
After it was acknowledged that Arnold Schwarzenegger set that point of screw your freedom, like Cenk said nothing about it to the contrary. Just like, almost acknowledging the fact that the left absolutely wants to screw your freedom.
That's right.
And I'm listening to that and like I'm hoping that he's going to debate that point in some way. Like, Democrats really don't feel that way, or
he can't.
Yes, it's absolutely. I know that, but that's my point, is that he was looking at this from the Democrat point of view. He should have absolutely jumped on board with that and said, yes, look, it's somehow the Republicans' fault. And he didn't do that because he knows that it's in fact the Democrats who want more power, and they're the ones who, quote unquote, want to screw your freedom. And so I was listening to that going, Jesus, this guy almost acknowledges the fact that they're totalitarian. Sorry.
But why did he do that? He did that because he's trying to rebrand. He's trying to reimage. He did this all interview long.
He's
like
trying to,
all of the juicy talk.
Moderate.
Yeah, the juicy talking points that Cenk usually eats, like a fucking hamburger, fries, and a double, triple chocolate shake that he eats for breakfast. This guy was trying to be moderate. And Tim Pool hit him several times in this. It was a great interview. Tim Pool does a great job of that. And he does it with no emotion, which is something I've gotten on Tim for. He needs to be a little more fiery at times, but I really liked what he did here. It's a good interview. Go watch it. But Cenk, at times, I'm like, holy shit, dude, you totally missed that. Where are you turning that around on Republicans? And he can't. Go ahead, Leeroy.
I wasn't going to say anything there.
Oh,
that's a first.
I agree with you.
Holy shit. Hold on a second. Do we have some harp music or something? And do we have,
I think we do.
Do we have something that we can play that shows some sort of,
can you just climb off my balls just a little bit?
Whatever, dude, listen, you deserve it. So don't cry. Just take it. Remember like a month and a half ago or 2 months before you abandoned the show and you guys were jumping my shit and I got pissed and I had to take it and I did and I just bit it until the end. You can throw a temper tantrum at the end. Until then, you got to take it.
Temper tantrum.
You a little bit. Drink some scotch, whiskey.
I don't do that. This
I
is
do.
Blanton's, baby.
You know what? I think we need to talk about the soy boy who was on here because I think you're still bitter about this guy. I think you wanted a shot. I think you want a shot at that guy. Do you want to talk about that for? Listen, you've got 2 minutes.
All right, folks, buckle up. As I was listening to that guy, everything that he said, and he admitted on several occasions, this is for every dummy who's listening, for all 200 people that are watching right now. The next time we get an authoritarian, the guy admitted it. He came on here and admitted, I'm like, what side of the fence do you lean on? He's like, I'm kind of authoritarian. Holy crap, are you kidding me? I wanted to just reach through the camera and ask him, what makes you think that you can run my life better than I can? That is something every one of the dummies, everyone who's watching this podcast needs to type in, jam into comments when someone like that comes on.
Yeah.
Just ask him that one question. What the hell makes you think that you can run my life better than I can? That ends
he has that
all
in common with Democrats. He has that in common with Democrats, right? And Nazis. So you look at all totalitarian governments. That's why the left
wasn't right wing.
That's right. And everyone tries to compare the right wing with fascism. People need to read some history books. It's the Nazi Socialist Party for a reason. Okay, Nationalist Socialist Party. All right, good talk. Good. I'm glad you look much more relaxed. It looks like you just had a really good BM and you got your morning glory done. It feels good.
Yeah.
You just dumped that weight.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Oh, it's the champagne of victory.
That's. Oh man, I love you. All right, these ladies, you need to get involved in this because these are going to be good. What were they saying about not talking about?
Oh, they said something about no trolls tonight.
No,
like they were the other night.
I think
because we're not talking about Nick Fuentes.
No. I want to be completely honest. I've interacted with several of those guys since then, and they've all been very respectful. Like I think they actually appreciated that we debated and had it wasn't a debate, had a conversation and were able to be amicable. And then in the end, most of them were like, sorry for earlier, sorry for some of the things we said, dumb show's a good show, good guy, dumb, don't unfriend me. And they were respectful. Some of them still aren't, but even Groypowski said, hey, I don't have any hard feelings, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow.
So the fact that I think they were upset because I said, if I saw Nick Fuentes and he said some of the shit he said, I'd punch him in the nose. I absolutely would. And now I even said, you know what? I need to stop being so extremely negative when I listen to Nick and do like I do with everybody, even Cenk Uyghur, and listen to what he has to say and then evaluate it on the conversation. Everybody gets a chance at redemption. That should be everybody until they burn you so many times that you're like, screw them. I'm kind of like that with Nick Fuentes, and every time I have invested, he's pissed me off. Gen Z is terrified, absolutely terrified that the draft is coming back. Now, if you asked me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30, through the Gulf, through Afghanistan, through every major conflict, Mogadishu, whatever, I don't care, wherever it was at, would the draft come back? I would look at you and laugh in your face. I would laugh at you and say there's not a chance. Gen Z is terrified. Like, they are scared to death. This
I hear
is very
a really big butt coming in.
Yeah, and you just did it. Is it anti-segment night? Is that what it is? Is it just like you can't stand the segment intros? Is it like no, I'm just trying to hit the block, and you're just like, no, you're not doing the block. I got it. I
think I got it. Leeroy's been gone for so long, and now he's like hitting his stride again. Do you know what I mean?
Premature laureation. Is that what this is called?
Right. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to finish the damn block. So my blocks are a minute and a half, bro. I am on target tonight. Okay. So if it wasn't for you, see that 19 minutes that was supposed to be at 20? That's your fault. So now that we've established that Gen Z is terrified of the draft, it's very similar to 1960 that everyone was afraid of nuclear war, right? That was the big trope, is that nuclear war is going to take us all out. And then it was literally the ozone and Greenpeace and the trees and the Amazon rainforest, for when we grew up. We also had nukes too. But this is the first time that another generation, in my opinion, truly is terrified about war since they kind of skipped 2 generations from the boomers all the way till Gen Z, and they're scared. I want you to listen to this. I know everyone's going to have a take, and this is good stuff. And I think this is kind of funny. Listen.
Why is everybody saying Gen Z is going to get drafted? Like, no, the fuck we're not. And you know why I know that? Because we're just going to say no. Like, how are they going to actually force us to get up and go to war? I understand it was like that in, like, the 1940s. What else is there to do in 1940 besides shoot people? We have things to do nowadays. We have to work, be bisexual, eat hot chip, lie. And we're also, like, really mentally ill. I have, like, 6 of these. What makes you think I'm qualified to have a gun, like, within 600 feet of anybody, including myself? And finally, like, guns are, like, so tacky. Like, can you imagine just, like, pulling up with a gun? Like, that is so fucking embarrassing. Like, what is this, the Revolutionary fucking War? No. Like, let's just chat. Let's just talk. There's no need for all the, like, no. No. It's not gonna happen, don't worry. Why is everybody...
We're not done. And here's the next one.
Oh my God, these 2?
Holy
Oh
cannoli.
yeah, there are thousands. There's not 2. There are thousands. They're all over TikTok. They're all over Twitter. They are everywhere. Let's listen to this one.
So 5 years of rent-free living, free food, and no responsibilities versus being immediately obliterated by an AK-47 the moment I set foot on that battlefield. And that's if they can catch me, because you think this draft occurs, I'm headed for the hills, baby. I know a place. It has everything I could possibly need except for electricity and cell service, which is going to be perfect because you won't be able to find me. Do I look like somebody who the authorities are going to be chasing after, hunting down because they need me? They need me to grab an assault weapon and go try to, like, save people's lives? Are you kidding me? Talk about a liability. Go find those people who are so, like, pro-Second Amendment and wear, like, freaking American flag thongs and all that shit. Like, go find them. They have a concealed carry anyway. They know what they're doing. They've done the classes. Go find them. You don't want me fighting for this country. I promise you that. And you know it's true.
All right. This is most assuredly real. This isn't fake. If it's fake, I always tell you it's fake. Olivia, you are the closest Well, no. Yeah, you would be the closest because of your son being autistic. I don't think that would make you the closest age. Is that Leeroy? Do you have a second
Talking
child?
about me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have two boys. One of them's 24. The other one's 19.
So he could be drafted. So you have a close age. You have the closest youngest. Amy would be third. So why don't we go Liv first? No, actually Leeroy would go first.
Leeroy would go first.
But we're not going to let Leeroy go first tonight. He's had enough. So it goes Olivia, it goes Leeroy, then it goes Amy. No, Leeroy, no. Olivia, Leeroy, Amy, and then I will clean up. You guys, about 2.5 minutes apiece would be beautiful. Leeroy, pull your camera down just a little bit. It keeps trying to go. It needs to go down on you versus go up on you.
Go down on me, Leeroy.
And then Olivia.
You've got a cigar already handy.
Hey, careful of that blue.
Thank you, Olivia, because that was.
Hey,
I'm like,
hey, Leeroy, does your wife own a blue? Does your wife own a blue dress? Because I have a Halloween costume that she would absolutely love with that cigar.
I striped that shit about 10 years ago.
All right, Liv,
golly.
go ahead.
Y'all.
They remind me of somebody that posts everything they eat throughout the day.
Right.
And everything they do. Like, I'm going to go and take my morning shit after I drink my coffee. Would you like to come join me? That's what they remind me of.
It's pretty
They're
good. Pretty good.
Wow.
Dr. Joe's home with potatoes.
They just have no respect. I mean,
No.
None for this country. They have no idea what this country was founded on. And the fact that they're just out there going, yeah, they're not going to come catch me. Well, you just kind of announced to the world and to your government that's going to draft you.
You're
that
going to be
if
the
draft
first.
goes,
You're going to be the first
You're
one.
going to be the first people they're going to go after, because
That's right.
all they're going to have to do is go back to your video and they're going to be at your door in a heartbeat. So
Yeah.
you just kind of fucked up. But
Olivia.
yes.
Language. Jeez.
A mouth on that one.
I know. Sorry, Captain America.
I'm just no. It's actually just great to hear you cuss. I love the voice you did. It was actually really good. It was well done.
How dare you?
Yes.
Leeroy, your thoughts on
I want to go. I want to
can
go
I
next.
finish my question, dude? Your thoughts on the pussification of military age males in our country, and I'd love to hear what you have to say now.
Well, I'll say this.
Do you want to tell the story, or are you going to let me finish?
Oh,
Look at the look.
God damn.
Oh man, we love you, Leeroy.
I
We
will
missed
say
you, buddy.
this. There is there's a pretty famous quote by Alexander Solzhenitsyn that's something about it. The way it goes is, all of the wolves want the rest of the world to be a sheep, something like that, and it's out of the Gulag Archipelago. So when I'm listening to kids like that talk about how I'm not ready to go to war, it's gonna chip my nails. They don't understand. They don't understand that the freedoms that they're currently enjoying are from men far wiser, far braver than they are. And at some point, you're going to have to fight for something.
Yeah.
And whether or not you think it's your freedom, or whether or not you think it's liberty or food or land or whatever it is, the Second Amendment or anything in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, at some point you have to find something in your life that you're willing to fight for. And if right now all you can dig up is your Kohl's Cash, or hey, I want to make sure I get to Macy's, that's not going to cut it.
It's good, dude.
That's what I got.
That was worth waiting for. That was worth interrupting for. It was good. It's good. Well done. I love it. Good luck following that up, Amy, but I bet she'll do it without interrupting. Go ahead, Amy.
See?
I will say this to all those, I'm assuming they, them pronouns for those people.
Wow.
I feel like If we're going to bring back the draft, we're going to bring back banner carriers, and that is their job in the military. With that said, I think for the most part, there are young men in our country, and we all live in remote areas. There's a lot of country boys. I think a lot of these young men that I know personally would be happy to go fight for our country. And I think we just don't see them on TikTok because they're out baling hay and cutting down corn and bush hogging right now because that's what we do out here in the country. So I think there are some young men who would stand up and fight. Two, I think it's pretty sad, especially with what's happening in Israel, who have had more than the troops that they've needed to show up to fight for their country. It's kind of pathetic and sad that this is the shit, excuse my language, that's happening on TikTok. And this is exactly why I hate social media. And these are the people, they identify themselves as people who we don't care. We don't care if you run. We would actually prefer you not to stand up and fight because you're dead weight. You're going to cause problems. And I know there's a lot of young men who will sign up and fight for our country. 2 cents. That's it.
Wow. Yeah, I want to commend Leeroy for not interrupting.
Can I interrupt?
I will.
He's
Sure.
today.
Yeah, go on.
At least he raised his hand.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, it was
by
more
the
of a
way,
finger.
that quote from Alexander Solzhenitsyn is, "A submissive sheep is a find for a wolf."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jefferson had some great ones when it came to wolves and comparative analysis between sheeps. And there's plenty. One of my favorite is, I think it's Shepherd Firearms. I'll have to look it up. But they've got a really, yeah, you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
It's, I don't know the name of them, but I love the name of it. And I'll have to look it up. It's a military-based company. They do T-shirts, everything else, and it's not sheep herder. It's, gosh darn it, it's protection.
That when you have something and it's like right at the tip of your tongue.
And how often
you
does that
can't pull it
happen to
out,
me?
you're
Like once a year? Like once a year that happens. Like when do I ever do that? Amy?
It's once a year. Me, it's every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's it doesn't matter. Maybe somebody will know. It's not sheep herder. It's not shepherd.
I thought it was lion something. Isn't it lion something clothing?
It's
lion.
Sheepdog. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
sheepdog.
you. Sheepdog Tactical. Yeah, sheepdog. It's just their logo and everything is so well done. I want to get them on the show. I also got to get Combat Flip Flops on the show too because that owner is just a godsend. Anyway, I'm going to quote one of my favorite bands of the 80s/90s, the Beastie Boys. You got to fight for your right to party. And there are times to party. There's a time to have fun. There's a time to procreate. I'm going to quote Kevin Bacon. There's a time to pray. There's a time to work. And then there's a time to dance. And when you got to punch that clock, you change. And I will tell you, if you look at the fighting men and women of World War I and World War II, they weren't ready. They were scared. They didn't want to go. Some of them had thoughts of running for the hills. When you look at Vietnam and Korea, same thing happened. And although we haven't had a draft since Vietnam, you have to look at the kids who went into Afghanistan and Iraq, even Grenada. It doesn't matter. Bosnia-Herzegovina, Mogadishu, and all the other places that we can't mention where we put U.S. soldiers, none of them wanted to go either. And I know Leeroy and I didn't necessarily want to go ahead and throw ourselves in front of bullet fire. That's why we scored exceptionally high on our ASVAB and became an elite crew of intelligence specialists. But we still had our own dangers, and we still put ourselves in situations, especially through some of the things that we elected to do, that put us at risk. Nobody wants to do this. And I will hold fast and say something positive for once, is I believe even those kids, if they were called to service, would find a way to muster the courage and answer the bell. Because even though there is a very angry element of anti-American sentiment, this isn't the first time in our country that it's happened. It happened during Vietnam. It happened when they took Kennedy. It happened under Reagan. It happened under Clinton. There has been an anti-American sentiment in this country since we were established. You can look at the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. You can look at the Bull Moose Party and look at the Whig Party. You can look at Republicans and Democrats. There are times where both parties have been anti-government or anti-big nation building. Some of them are for populism. Some of them for isolationism. We will make it through. I believe if something like 9/11 happened again, there would be enough people to answer the bell. And we have to have faith, because belittling this generation and making them feel subjugated to more ridicule isn't going to give them the sense of belonging to a country that they are completely detached to. The only thing it's going to do is to show them the right way and to encourage them that we all answered the bell and we all punched the clock when we had to. I believe in our people. I believe in this country. And I don't care if they can't fucking define what a woman is and they eat Tide Pods. We're going to need them to answer the bell soon, I have a feeling.
No, it's their choice.
I just have one quick question. Do we know the age of Dylan Mulvaney? Well,
oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Hi, everybody. Welcome to boot camp, bitches. Let's get our shoes out. We're going to go ahead and make these fucking beds, boys. Oh, my God.
Quick observation from what Matt
Can I just
said.
say what I said was awesome? Could I put?
It was, and I was going to say something, but I'm like,
why don't you say something, Olivia? But
there was a comment on YouTube, and it was pretty funny.
What
so
is?
they wouldn't know how to survive without electricity or a phone.
That's true.
It's very true. But I wasn't going to say it because yours was all homey.
I was getting all hard. No, I appreciate it. I finished it at the end with Dylan Mulvaney. I'm like, don't make fun of him. Hello, bitches. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Hey guys. I can't even do it.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Something that Matt said that I felt was really, really profound, is that when we take a look at the historical perspectives of all of our soldiers, from World War II to Vietnam to what's happening today, it was during the 60s when the Kent shootings happened, and all of the soldiers and most of the government was kind of looked at as kind of bad, right? And somehow we kind of shook ourselves from that. And we went from understanding that, look, it wasn't the soldiers that were bad. So when they came home from Vietnam, they were called all sorts of, names and everything like that. And ever since Afghanistan, people understand that the public understands that the people that serve in the military are patriots. And somehow, and I think this is a move in the right direction. Follow with me on this. So we're looking at these former soldiers that used to be made fun of, and now we're looking at the soldiers as if they can walk on water. A lot of times they're awesome. I see my count.
You got 25 seconds, dude. Hurry the fuck up.
I think my point is that somehow in the last 40 years we've gone from soldiers are baby killers and bad to, look, soldiers are good. It's the politicians that we can't trust.
It's not a bad way to end the night. Something. I think it does, and I think it's a very articulated and well articulated point. We are not going to have time for final minute, but we will have time to go around the barn. Everyone gets 15 seconds. Say final words. Leeroy, go.
Thank you so much for allowing
Perfect.
me to
Amy, your turn. Amy, your turn. Go. Amy, your turn. Go. Hurry up.
My 15 seconds is I think we need a separate recorded show with Leeroy called Leeroy's Drinking with Leeroy, Cheers Leeroy, something like that.
Drinking with Leeroy. That's perfect. Olivia, go.
Everyone, head on over to YouTube. Give us a subscribe. You do not need to watch there. Just give us a subscribe.
We're this close, folks. We got to get to 1,000. Please go over and create an account, even if you hate YouTube. We're this close to being monetized. We're actually growing on that channel. We are expanding. This is our best month we've ever had.
247 subscribers
we got
left.
1 minute.
Let's go.
Please get in there. Get to YouTube. Help us out. I want to thank all of our Spreely TV listeners. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We're coming hard. Hold on, Liv. I don't have time for this, Liv. We're going hard. We're getting Spreely TV. We're going to be cut off in 1 minute. Spreely TV people, we're going to grow. We're going to get this going going on. We're going to get these things rolled out. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Twitter. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, Rumble. We also love we're growing there. Go to the Don't Unfriend Me Show at thedumbshow.com. Olivia, you have the last part. I didn't mean to cut you off,
I was
honey.
just going to say, I don't know how to tell how many people are watching.
Okay, that's wonderful. We'll figure it out later. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Good night, everybody. I think this is one of our best episodes. I love the format. I love that the hosts brought their own ideas. We stayed on time for the most part, Leeroy. And we will see you guys on Monday with a new recorded show and a new live show. And I believe that our boy Mikey is going to be here. Yeah, and he's going to show up. Thanks, everybody. Good night. God bless.
Y'all.
Go buy something from the Don't Unfriend Me Show.
Good
Keep
night,
us alive.
guys.
Good night.
Love you guys.
See ya.
Take care of each other.
Love you
See ya.
guys. Good night. Good night.
Great show, folks. Bye.
Love you guys. Good night.
Tina, God bless. I hope your husband's okay. Keep us informed. Thanks, Leeroy. I love you, buddy.